What is going on, guys? It's your boy K-Cross here, back in the video today, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing my pick for the Super Bowl, which, if you haven't known, is coming up like Sunday. So anyway, first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and say that since preseason week, maybe like 2 weeks before, or not preseason, I'm going to say postseason, or the wild card weekend, maybe even like 2 weeks before that, 3 weeks before that, I've said that the Chiefs are probably going to win the Super Bowl. They just look like so unstoppable, right? Like that offense is crazy, right? You got so many weapons. With Tyreek Hill, being like the fastest player in the NFL. I mean, that's one of the biggest advantages that you could have. And then also having something like, these really good supporting role players like Hardman and Watkin, which, if you watch Sammy Watkins back in like Buffalo, he was pretty much a star at Buffalo. I'm still confused as to how Buffalo gave him up. I think that if I remember right, that trade actually worked out for Buffalo pretty well, but I don't remember very well at all. So don't take my word for it. But anyway, that's completely off topic anyway. So you have these supporting role people like Hardman, Watkins. You have another star in Travis Kelce, so don't forget that. And then you have, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's like a rising star. Le'Veon Bell, who may not be the Pittsburgh Le'Veon Bell that everybody knows and loves, or everybody outside of Pittsburgh knows and loves. But he still produces pretty well, obviously. He's a big factor in the passing game, and in the running game, he can get it done still. He's still an elusive back. And then, we have a pretty solid line. Obviously, we have a tackle that went down. Obviously we wish him a speedy recovery, but besides that, you have a pretty much solid team on the offensive side. Like, there's nothing, there's no holes, no water's leaking through. It's solid. It's sealed, right? Like, nothing's really bad about that offense. That offense is nearly perfect. One of the better offenses we've probably ever seen, and that's just the scary thing about Kansas City, is that they are in progress of making, like, history, possibly. Like, they could go on and win like the two Super Bowls if they can keep this team together, especially since no one's really figuring them out yet. Obviously, the only people that have ever really figured them out are kind of like the AFC South, so to speak, whenever they had that little stint where the Titans, the Texans, and the Colts beat them, and they all dominated that time of possession game. But then the Chiefs went on to get some backs with Le'Veon Bell and Edwards-Helaire, and now they can dominate the time of possession game if someone tries to dominate the time of possession game from them like we did then. So really, it's like they have pretty much sealed off everything that you can do from an offensive standpoint to disrupt their offense, right? Like, whenever the Colts, the Texans, and the Titans beat them, they really didn't beat them with the defense. It was more or less beating them with the offense, and that was by dominating the time possession, like I've said millions of times now. So realistically, I just see that like the only way to stop them is to possibly dominate that time possession. But even then, it's going to be tough for the Buccaneers to do that, because I mean, I don't want to say Leonard Fournette's not a good back or anything, because he is, but he's just not he's just not the back that you need, right? Like, you need somebody that's going to be at a skill level of Derrick Henry, or a skill level of maybe Christian McCaffrey, like someone that's electric and is gonna get you some yardage. But like, at the same time, you don't want somebody that's like gonna pop off on a big play. You just want these nice like 5-yard stints, right? And I said Christian McCaffrey. I don't really know if I stand by that or not. I just was the first running back that came to my mind. So but anyway, you're gonna want a running back that's gonna be able to produce like 5-yard rushes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want any 50-yard rushes. You don't want any of these big plays. You just want to keep running that clock down, keep Patrick off the field. That's really the only way that you're gonna win this game. And Leonard Fournette is a better back to do that than maybe a smaller back. I can't think of anything that comes to mind right now. Maybe like a Nyheim Hines out of Indianapolis. He's not really a power back. He's kind of like a a receiving back almost, and a elusive back. He's not really gonna punch the hole and get 5 every time, right? And that's kind of where Leonard Fournette's probably better than him at, and that's kind of what you want whenever out of your backs, right? And I think that's the only way Tampa Bay can win the game, because I don't honestly think that they can outduel I don't think that they can outduel Kansas City. Now, I will say that Tampa Bay probably has a better defense. However, I wouldn't, the offense of the Chiefs is just too strong. The offense of the Chiefs plays defense for the defense, basically. Like, you have some key players on defense. Sorensen's pretty good. Honey Badger Matthew, he's pretty good. You got, like I said, these are some good players, but the Chiefs' defense isn't as a unit great. Chandler Jones is good too. Obviously, he could cause a lot of trouble, but like, whenever you put it all together, it's not necessarily the greatest defense in the NFL. But I think that defense is just enough to stop Tom Brady from dueling with Patrick Mahomes, because obviously, like I said, Tampa Bay has a good defense. They have some, players too. They have Ndamukong Suh, who can cause a lot of trouble. They have a couple good strong backs. They have one of the more talented linebacker groups in the NFL. So, they can cause a lot of trouble, but I just don't see them being able to cause the trouble that Patrick Mahomes can cause on the offensive end. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, the Chiefs definitely get to win this, right? I'm thinking probably is going to be a higher scoring game. I think, it'll come down to it. Honestly, I think I'm feeling like maybe like a 38 to 32, 38 to 33, 38 to 34. Maybe something like a 34 to 28, 34 to 30, something in that range. You know what I mean? That's just kind of where I'm feeling it. I think it will be a game that is high scoring, because I don't think that Bruce Arians will honestly run a possession dominant game. Like, as a coach, he's just not that type of guy. He's a high flyer, a risk taker. He's kind of like Andy Reid in a lot of ways, really. And that's just why I just think that the Chiefs will win this. Like, I just don't see Tampa Bay, first of all, applying what they're going to need to apply on the offensive end to win the game. And I don't see them having enough power on the offensive end to just score more points, right? I think there are a couple possible solutions, because I think it will be a shootout, but ultimately I think that the shootout will come down to a score or 2 scores at most. I honestly don't even think it will. I think it will definitely be within 7 points at the end of the game. And I think that the only way that it isn't is if maybe there's a bad call, or, just something lucky happens, like in the Falcons game, whenever, Julian Edelman caught a ball that he shouldn't have caught. Like, 3 defenders were around him. It was a tip ball. It was just a lucky play. That's what kept that game alive. It was just a lucky play. I think, Tom Brady is a great quarterback, but he's also a lucky guy. He's got a lot of lucky breaks in his career, which, I mean, if you're however old he is, probably like 43, something like that, you'd have a lot of lucky breaks in your career too if you made it to that point. So, it just happens. I'm not taking anything away from him for it. I just think that, for some reason, God's up in the sky bless him. The football gods bless him with some luck. So, I don't know. That's the only way I possibly see him, winning this is, just by luck, or if they dominate the possession game. And that's just my opinion. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.